In about 10 minutes, Lucy reached the light and found that it was a lamp post. As she stood looking at it, wondering why there was a lamp post in the middle of a wood, and wondering what to do next, she heard a pitter-patter of feet coming towards her. And soon after that, a very strange person stepped out from among the trees into the light of the lamp post.
Hello everyone, I'm Kat from the Littlestown Library of the Adams County Library System, and welcome to our final installment of our literary trio, Tiny Art for Adults and Teens. Today we are doing a design that was inspired by the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. So we are doing a lamppost in a winter scene, which many of you may recognize as iconic from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So if you signed up for an art kit, then you will receive the following: one 4x4 canvas, a tiny easel, one paintbrush, and a paint pot and paint pots with the following colors: a dark or cerulean blue, a dark blue or an ultramarine blue for the first one, cerulean blue or a mid-range blue for the second, a sky blue or a light blue for the third blue. Lots of blue in this one. White, black, and yellow. I also recommend that you put down some newspaper or paper towels so that way you don't get paint everywhere, and also have some extra paper towels on hand to clean your brush. Also recommend a container of some kind to hold water for cleaning your brush between colors, and if you have a paper plate or a plastic lid that doesn't fit to anything, or an actual palette for your paints, that can also be helpful as well. So without further ado, let's get painting. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and get started putting some dollops of paint on your canvas. So you'll want to take some of the dark ultramarine blue and put some dollops of paint just to give you an idea of where things are supposed to go across the top, and then down here across the bottom. So you want to put those there. Then you'll want to wipe off your brush real quick. You can either completely clean it, or if you, this is all going to be mixed together, so it doesn't really matter as much, but I generally like cleaning my brush so that way I don't mix colors if I don't want to. Then you take the cerulean blue and put some dollops kind of right along there, and then some more right along here. And you can kind of wipe off the edge of your brush a bit, because again, this is all going to be mixed together. If you have something else that you want to use to dollop out the paint, you can do that if you'd like. If you have like a little spoon or something, or one of those like wooden tongue depressors or something like that, you want to scoop a little bit of paint out, you can do that. I'm just using my brush because, again, these are tiny canvases, so it doesn't really matter a whole lot. And then you want to take your sky blue, your lightest blue, and put a couple dollops in the middle here. There we go. And then what you're going to do is you are going to, and you can either have your canvas leaning up on your easel, or you can have it laying down. I have mine up on my canvas, so I apologize if I cast shadows here. But then you want to make back and forth motions with your brush. and go through the dollops and just make these back and forth sweeps with your brush. If you need to add more to it, you certainly can. If you need more dollops of paint, that's totally fine. You can do that. But we're mixing all of this together. You just want to make sure that you have kind of a gradient coming in so that you have darker along the bottom and top, and then the lighter stuff in the middle. So you might have to get some more of the darker to make sure that the top is darker than the rest of it. But first I'm just going to go through, do my swoopies back and forth, just to make sure everything is covered. And it's okay if you have a couple, like, it's okay if it's a little streaky or you see the swoops. It's fine, because we're going to be going over this with the foil in a minute. So just make sure you get the edges. And as you might be able to tell, like, everything kind of sort of merged into one color. So I'm going to take some more of the darker ultramarine blue, and I'm going to add some more of that to the bottom and to the top. And you might need to clean your brush in order to keep the other colors from mixing in, so that's totally fine if you need to do that. You should have plenty of paint for this, but yeah, so you might need to clean, like I'm probably gonna have to clean. I'm just getting the sides taken care of and getting the rest of the excess paint off my brush. So I'm going to clean my brush, and then I'm going to get some more of the ultramarine blue, because I don't feel like I have quite enough contrast there. And if you want to add a little bit of white in the middle in order to lighten up the middle a little bit, you can do that. But you don't want it too light, because we want the white to definitely stand out. So I'm getting some more of my dark blue and adding that to the top, and I'm going to add some more to the bottom. And I'm not worried about blending it quite so much, because we're gonna use the at this point I'm going to be using the foil in just a moment. So I'm getting some darker bits up here. There we go. Okay. And I'm just gonna get the edges there. Okay, and I'm going to clean my brush again, and I'm going to get a little bit of the white and the sky blue together and kind of lighten that up just a little bit in the middle, so there's a little bit more contrast, but not too much. So you can see there's kind of that gradient from the dark blue to the light blue. So I'm going to get my brush back, and I'm going to clean it off, dry it off, and you see I've got some spots here that are a little bit thick, and I'm just going to bring those, I'm just going to take some of the paint and just do a little bit of tapping with the side of my brush in order to bring that all back together. And I'm going to clean my brush again. So the point of this is to kind of make it, and again, you can smooth out some of these other spots, but the point of it is to try to give a sort of a fuzzy almost look, like, you know, that powdered sugar kind of look that you get with snow and snowy backgrounds. You kind of have that sort of haze to it. Then you can just tap with the side of your brush and kind of get a similar, you just do a light doop 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 doop, and just lightly tapping, like you're not covering things, you're just giving, again, we're trying to give this impression of like that we're looking into a forest, we're looking into this area, and everything's kind of hazy, there's a lot of snow. So yeah, so this is kind of the effect that you're going for. If you can achieve it with the foil, great. If it wasn't really working for you, like it wasn't really working for me, then that is totally fine. So you just want to kind of do that black tapping up across the top here and kind of bring it down a little bit on the sides. And then you want to get just a little bit more, and you'll want to do a little bit down here. Not quite as much, but just a little bit along, because there's still, you know, there's still going to be like shadows and stuff. So you might need to turn your brush over from side to side and just, yeah, that foil was not working. The video that I was looking at that did that technique made it look so easy, but as we can see, reality and theory don't always match up. So, and again, make sure if you have a thicker canvas, make sure you get the sides. And once again, if this is easier for you to do when it's lying flat, go for it. I just have mine set up right so that way you can see it a little bit better. Trying to get a camera angle downward with these is kind of a pain. So that's why we do it like this. So once you have that set the way you would like it, then we're going to clean our brush really well, because we just had black on there. And make sure you dry your brush so you don't get water in it, because the more water you have on your brush, then the runnier the paint's going to be. And we're not going for a watercolor effect here. Watercolors are their own brand of crazy, and yeah, so we're not doing that. I am again going to forego the, well, let me adjust that a little bit so you can see. I'm going to forego the foil, because that just doesn't seem to be working very well for me. So I'm going to get some white paint, and again, kind of like what we did with the black paint, just these little light taps. If you get like a glob, kind of like what I just did, then turn your paintbrush over to the other side and use that to ease out, because we want this to be more faint. You can kind of do a little bit of, you can kind of drag it a little bit, like almost like you're stroking a cat. You can do little tiny drags, and then you can do some more like that. Again, this is kind of not the most distinct. It's just giving, it's okay if it does these little, you know, if it does something unexpected. You've got spots that are a little bit brighter, spots that are a little bit darker. Totally fine. Again, we're going for that snow-covered sort of look. So we're kind of giving that sort of impression here. And then wherever your lamp is going to be, which will probably be around here-ish, if you want it to be there, then what we're going to do is we're going to do a similar thing, and we're going to do it in a more circular kind of pattern. So just kind of, because this is where the light's going to be shining, and the light is sort of diffused through the through the trees and everything. And it's much easier to lay that down before you actually draw the lamp or paint the lamp. So we're going to have that nice little diffusion of light kind of right around there. Okay. And in the center of that diffusion, we're going to go ahead and clean our brush again. And we are going to get just a little bit of yellow, and we're going to put that in the middle, and we're going to turn our brush in a circle, and then lightly, very lightly. So it looks a little bit like a fried egg right now, and that's okay. That is okay. This is what things look like before you finish them. So it looks a little bit like a fried egg. That's fine. It is okay. And we're just going to do a little bit of white. Add a little bit of more white around it. Okay. And again, if it doesn't end up looking like the way you want it, you can cover it up with other paint. It's fine. So we are going to go ahead and let that dry. So that way, if we add more yellow, it won't look because right now, at least on in real life, it looks a little bit greenish because of the blue. So we can lay down some more yellow on it when it's dry, and then we can also add in the actual lamp post itself. So depending on how heavy the paint is that you put down, give it about 5 to 10 minutes to dry, and then we will be on to the next step. All right, so now that we've had a chance to dry, and if you want to add some more snow, you can also you can actually put a little bit of paint on the end of your brush and turn it sideways like this, and you can also add like other bits of snow if you want to. So that's another way that you can put some more snow on there. But what we are focusing on right now is getting the lamp post done. So we're going to get some black on the end of our brush, and we are going to turn our brush vertically up and down, and we are going to press the brush and go straight down. It's okay if it's not perfect. That's totally fine. If you want to use like a ruler or a straight edge or something, you can do that, but it's not required. I'm just freehanding it right here. And then we're going to do sort of a little bit of a triangle for the base. If you have like a finer brush, this is a little bit easier, but hey, we're working with what we got. And so you just want to draw it from roughly the bottom of the yellow all the way down. And then what I'm going to do is I'd recommend just using the paint that's still on your brush and do a very gentle line like that. You're making like a V shape, and then bringing the ends of the V together to make a diamond shape, and then press the end of your brush at the top like that to make the top of it. Okay, so that gives you the basic shape. I'm just going to make the base a little bit wider. So then you're going to take your brush and draw a straight line across here. And then another vertical one down. Okay? And then we're going to fill in that part. Now, I don't really like the look of that. Like, it kind of looks like an eye that's sort of looking at me. I feel like the bottom isn't quite big enough and the top is a little bit too much. So, what we're going to do to fix that is I'm going to clean my brush again. And I'm going to take a piece of paper towel. I'm going to wipe off a little bit of extra, although you might not be able to get a whole lot, and wipe off some of the black. And then I'm going to go back in with my white. And I am just going to paint over this bad boy entirely. Like, I don't like how that turned out. So, and this is a perfect example of how you can fix things just with paint. Like, again, this is all going to be painted over, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to take off that entire top. Like, forget that entire top. I don't like it. It didn't turn out the way I wanted, and that's okay. And actually, that kind of looks neat. Like, that actually looks like one of the round light bulbs that you would see different places. So, yeah, so I'm just gonna go over that with that. And yeah, so I did not like that, how that first turned out, but acrylic paint is extremely forgiving. So we will be able to fix that, and it might even work to our advantage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that dry again completely, because again, if you make a mistake like that, not a mistake, if you paint something and you don't like it, like you don't like how it turned out, like again, I didn't like the shape, it wasn't big enough, I needed to make these lines a bit longer, in order to make the top smaller, so that way you can see more of the light that is coming out. So I didn't like it. I've got to let it dry before I can go back in and make the adjustments that I want. But in the meantime, while that is drying, we can add some more background stuff. So we'll leave that alone for now, and we'll come back to it. If you got it on the first try and you're happy with it, then just leave it alone and work on the background for a little bit, and then we'll come back and you can wait for the rest of us to catch up. So I'm gonna get a little bit of black paint on my brush, and I'm just gonna do a tree. Doesn't have to be, very detailed. Just a tree. And put another tree. And just, just little, very gentle, and then gonna add some more in the background. I'm not getting more paint. I'm just adding some elsewhere because they're kind of fading into the background. And that's totally fine. So you can kind of see these sort of vague shapes back in the distance. And then I'm going to clean my brush, and we are going to take some white. Again, just a little bit of white. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. And we're just gonna. That's a little dark, but put a little snow on the edge of the trees. Like that one's a little dark. I'll have to come back to that one later and lighten it up a bit. But just putting some snow on the branches of the trees here and there, adding a couple snow streaks in the back. And like this one is a little bit dark, I might just paint over that. But there's, you can see that there's snow in the background. And this one I might just, I think that one I might just paint over. But see, that gives you some impressions that there's more going on in the background than what you're seeing. So we're just kind of doing little dupes here and there. And so you see, I don't really like that right there, and that's totally fine. So I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna get a little bit more of the sky blue. And we're going to just get rid of that because, or at least fade it out a bit. So just getting a little bit of sky blue, just a teeny tiny bit, and just, ease that up a bit. Make it a little more indistinct. Get a tiny bit of the cerulean. Just a pinch of the cerulean blue. You don't want any of the dark blue in here because that'll show up way too much, but a little bit of, just. And you see that's faded it out a bit, so that way it's not quite as noticeable. And you can use it to touch up if there's any other places that you're like, I don't really like that. You can touch it up. Touch up a couple spots. Just make that a little bit less noticeable. And there you go. So now you can see that there's sort of that impression of this forest kind of going into the background. And if you get a little bit, again, a little tiny bit of white, then you can go right along the edge of your lamppost. And just kind of show that there's snow clinging to it. Again, just little dabs. Little dabs. Make sure you get some on the bottom, and if you want to kind of add some more, like it's kind of buried a bit in the snow, then you can do that. So you see it kind of looks like it's snow covered, that there's more on there than what you think's happening. If you want to add a couple more light taps back here to kind of again indicate that the snow's going back further. It's all very impressionistic. I'm very much a fan of impressionistic kind of landscape paintings because they are a lot more forgiving if you are not very familiar with painting, if you haven't had a lot of practice painting, it's just doing impressionistic kind of stuff is just so cool because you can do whatever you darn well please, And because things are hazy or misty or snowy, or it's at twilight or at sunset, you can get away with a lot without and make it look like you totally meant to do that. And that's cool, because you can see how you can adapt the different quote unquote mistakes and make it work for you. So, because so far I have made all my mistakes work for me. The only one that we're going to have to check out here is going to be the lantern tops here. So what I'm going to do is, I think, nope, that's not dry yet. Yep, I touched it. Okay, so since I had gone a little bit heavy on the paint there, that has not dried yet. So if you're happy with how your background is kind of looking, then and this still hasn't dried, then go ahead and give that a little bit longer to dry, maybe another 5 minutes, and then we'll be back to hopefully do a little bit better with our lamp. All right, well, now that we should be ready to proceed, we are going to take a little bit of black, again, just a tiny bit, and we're going to, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, a bit longer. So, there we go, that's better. And then across like a cup, and give it a little hat. There we go, that's much better. I am much more happy with that. So now we go ahead and fill in this part. And if you want to make it a little sharper, a little steeper, you can do that. And then don't forget the little doohickey at the top, little knob at the top or whatever. There we go. Yes, that looks much better. I am much happier with that. It's probably a little bit out of proportion, but you know what? This is a fantasy for us, so I don't care. Alrighty. So there we go with that, and now I'm going to clean my brush super duper well and dry it off really, really well. And then I'm going to get some white, and we're going to brighten up the inside. So, whoops, looks like I covered up my middle bar a little bit, but that's okay. And I'm going to get off a little bit of the excess. So I'm just going to have a tiny bit of white, and I'm going to very lightly kind of redo some of the glow. Kind of ease out some of that. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just kind of making a glow. There we go. Okay. Then clean the brush again. I'm gonna get a tiny bit of black. You know what? Actually, we're gonna do yellow first. Yellow. Little bit of yellow. So again, just a tiny bit of yellow. And we're gonna do a bloop in there and a bloop in there. Whoops. And get a tiny bit more up here, up here. There we go. So we have a little bit of a warm glow in the middle. And I'm gonna clean my brush again. And get a little bit of black, and I'm gonna try just the edge. And there we go. I have redone my little the little crossbar there that separates the different frames. So that is good. I like that. All right, and I'm gonna touch up a little bit down here. There we go. All right, I'm gonna clean my brush one more time, and we're going to add a little bit of snow up here. So just get a little bit of white and just a little bit of snow. Doesn't have to be like a whole lot, just a couple bloops to I know I'm so technical, bloops, swoops, yeah, I know, up there, so that way it shows that there is snow that has been falling on that there. And let's see, I'm gonna get some more white on the edge of my brush, and I'm gonna do a couple touch-ups down here, kind of there's a couple spots that I'm like, okay, I kind of want to highlight there a little bit, leave other places a little bit more indistinct. Add a little bit more around here. So we've got just little dabs of snow. And now we're going to add some snow as well. So we're going to get some more white on our brush. And we are going to add some snowflakes. Now this time you want just a little bit of dampness on your brush. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, but just enough that there's a little bit on there. And then we are going to just do little flicks. Pull back your brush and give the painting a light dusting of snowflakes. And if you want some darker snowflakes, then you can just take the edge of your brush and do some, just don't make them regular, just the edge of your brush, and add some darker, like some thicker snowflakes if the dusting isn't quite what you preferred. There we go. I think that will do quite nicely. So there you go. You have your lamppost in a snowy forest. So thank you for joining us for this tiny art, our literary tiny art, featuring the lamppost from Narnia by C.S. Lewis. And we hope to see you for the next one.